Hey, how's it going, guys? This is Papa Joe for this week's edition of the Metal Shop Vlogs. Today, our guest is Stovall.
Hello.
Go ahead and give us a quick intro, Stovall.
Yeah, my name is Stovall Vasquez, singer-songwriter here in El Paso, Texas. That's really about it.
Yeah, I remember we saw you perform at well, it was a pizza joint on the east side.
Yeah, I believe that was for the
Funk
Valentine's
Myers.
Day
Yeah, it was
show.
Funk Myers.
Yeah,
It was like last year, right? You played with like Mountain Vibes and
Mountain Vibes and Alan
Alan
Martinez.
Martinez. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that was the first time we saw you, and it was really cool, man. I mean, you had a good set.
pretty good.
So, what have you been up to since then?
Just a lot of writing. I've been making a bunch of original stuff. Just sort of making new songs and composing new songs too, and everything. I'm also a composer, so just trying to stay active.
Nice. So could you go ahead and talk to us about like how you got started in music? Like what was the one thing that piqued your interest about it?
Yeah, so it actually happened maybe about when I was 10 or 11. I would actually visit my tia a lot at her house and everything, and my cousin would have like his old school Fender Stratocaster, and he was pretty good at it and everything, and he actually just took it out one time and I just started playing it, and I don't know, I think I borrowed the guitar for like about a week, and I became addicted to it, and then I had to give it back. And then I think about a month later, my folks got me a guitar, like an old school Jay Tercer from like Danny's Music Box. No longer there anymore. But and I remember them saying, "Oh, we'll just get it from. He'll have it for like about a week, and he'll just forget about it." And nah, I wasn't like that.
You were
Um, I-
hooked.
yeah, definitely, man. I locked myself in a room for like a whole year, all day just playing music, and that's all I did. So, took it pretty
Like
seriously.
around what year was that? Like what years? What time period?
I was about 11 when that happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was a
Was
long
that
time
like
ago.
the time
Jeez.
before YouTube and all that good stuff?
Yeah, oh, yeah, way before then.
Yeah, because I remember like I grew up in the '80s and I used to play guitar too, but I learned how to play by ear and tab books. I remember there was a place at Bassett called the Melody Shop. I used to go buy the tablature books.
That's cool.
That's
Yeah,
how I learned. I mean, there weren't, like nowadays, there's a lot of like guitar classes in high school and stuff,
yeah, definitely.
but it
And
wasn't as like readily available back in my day.
yeah, definitely. And I sort of taught myself, and then so I remember when I went into guitar school, well, not into guitar school, into high school. They had like a music school over there, and over there in Isleta, and I got by it pretty quickly and everything. So they moved me up, pretty quickly in the program. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
Did you go to Sleda High School?
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh, really? That's cool. I
I
had no
graduated in
idea.
'86.
Oh, oh 06.
86. Oh 06?
Yeah, oh 06. 86.
Damn,
Pretty
20
cool.
year, 20-year difference right there, man. Yeah, I grew up in that area.
Oh, okay, nice.
Cool, man. Hey, once an Indian, always an Indian.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and so like, what were some of your influences like growing up?
So yeah, at that time, I just barely discovered rock and roll music. Barely. Um,
Like, what was the first band that really caught your
the
interest?
first ever rock and roll band I ever heard was Led Zeppelin. My dad, like, literally just sat me and my brother down, and just like, hey, what should this out? And then it was actually Stairway to Heaven, and that sort of piqued my interest because I was around 11, 10 around that time, and all of a sudden I was like, geez, that's like amazing. And then just sort of took it from there. I ended up discovering a bunch of like the old classics, Pink Floyd and Deep Purple and stuff like that, and just sort of kept going, man. That's about it.
Did you ever play Stairway to Heaven backwards, like on a turntable?
You know what? Yeah, I think my dad told me about that.
Yeah.
I did it one time, and I was like, I don't hear anything there.
I did hear it. Like
You
it was
did?
in the '80s, so I could hear it. It was crazy. Did you ever do that Pink Floyd? Is it Dark Side of the Moon where you play it, like you sync it with the Wizard of Oz?
I never did that. I heard
Yeah.
something about
Yeah.
that. It just, I don't know.
It must have been an '80s thing or something, man. Like back then we didn't have like all the social media and stuff. We didn't even have the internet back then. If you
Yeah.
think about it. We had like MTV. For us, MTV was our social media.
Oh yeah, definitely. When they actually played music back then, yeah. Jeez.
Yeah. So like, what about some of your more modern influences?
Modern influences. Well, I mean, I sort of have like a two-sided, to my music. Like I have music that I will ever play, like if I was ever in a band, and then my solo stuff. But as far as like solo stuff, Bob Dylan has always been a huge influence. Neil Young and everything. I mean, he just lets you see this whole picture and everything, and it's just amazing. Neil Young, and I think as far as like my electric side, I've always loved Omar Rodriguez Lopez, like his playing, the Mars Volta at the drive-in, Bosnian Rainbows, whatever it may be. I've always loved everything, and of course Jimmy Page and David Gilmour and stuff like that. A lot of good stuff. So
Yeah, it's crazy because I see a lot of like Omar's influence and his style, and even the way he like performs in a lot of today's guitarists, especially a lot of the bands that I like a lot of the like the Blue Swan Records bands. I just pick up a lot of the influence from him and them. And it's cool, man. I mean, it's good to see that a band from El Paso could have such an influence on
exactly
like a whole record label.
exactly yeah. Like I think every band sort of sees that as like the actual shining god over here in El Paso. Like, geez, they actually made it, and
Yeah.
have to reach that.
So, have you ever been in bands before, or have you always been a solo artist?
I've been in 3 bands and everything. My first band was when I was in high school, and everything. We would go practice at my friend Jesse Garozzo's house every day from like 4 to 7 or even 8 or 10, whatever, and everything. And we played a couple shows with that band, and then we broke up, and then we made this other band a couple years later. That one, of course, broke up and everything. But the serious band that we did have was maybe disbanded about 5 or 6 years ago and everything. But that one was pretty prominent. We made some pretty good headway here in El Paso.
Nice. What was the name of that band?
That band was called Homunculus Stare and everything. We weren't really known for the name and everything, but I think like the main thing that like everybody really remembered about us was the fact that we played like the main cover for like the Cranberries. Like we would play a lot of Cranberries and stuff. So you're like, oh, you guys are like that band that played a lot of Cranberries. I'm like, yeah, we're that band. So
So those guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, how do your influences like translate to your sound today?
Well,
Like, how would you describe your sound?
The sound, oh God, really, man. I mean, I don't even actually, know what's going on with the song until I actually sit down and read it. I sort of go into like a lapse of like consciousness when I'm writing. And I don't know, it's just really trippy and everything. I find a lot of areas and everything where like a lot of the verses and like a lot of choruses connect with one another and everything somehow, as I'm just thinking about it, and it just makes sense. And like as far as like rehearsing, that one is just free for all. I mean, like whatever comes out,
Just whatever comes out of
just
your
does it.
out of your soul, huh?
Yeah, that's about it.
That's cool, man. So like, who do you feel like supports your music the most? Like, even like from playing shows or when they know that you're busy putting music together and stuff.
Well, of course, my wife and everything. She knows, definitely and everything. No matter what, there's always something that to do and everything in music, and she understands that. And like as far as like the local scene, Javier Martinez has always been. I think he actually gave me one of my like my latest shows over here this year, and then Alan also last year gave me my last show, Alan Martinez, and it's been quite a few people, yeah.
Nice. Okay, man. So let's go ahead and get into your original music. How many original songs do you have?
Oh man, I did the count last time. I have like coming up on 50 songs already, quite a bit.
Oh.
Yeah.
So like what's the average length of your set when you get booked for a show?
Well, I mean, I normally have like about 4 or 5 songs, sometimes even just 3 or 2 and everything. But I saw with like 4 or 5 songs about a good 30-minute set. It's pretty lengthy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like, do you have like songs that are a regular part of your set, or do you try to like switch them out?
I do have songs that are sort of like a regular part of the set. Songs that I like playing a lot. Not only do I want people to like what they're hearing and everything, I also have to not be bored up there.
Right.
So,
Yeah, you have to have fun.
yeah, exactly, and everything. So I sort of try to have the same songs up there, but at the same time, also try to play other songs that I haven't played in like years. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, I know. I've seen like some touring bands. I saw this interview one time for our friends in Hill of Sun, and they asked like 2 of the members of the band like which were their favorite songs to perform on stage, like at shows. And so the next time I saw them, they played those 2 songs, and you could definitely see like on their faces that they were just having fun. They're up there,
exactly.
and they're like passionate about it. So
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
I think there's a lot to say about loving what you do and doing it with a passion, and then also having fun doing it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I hear that.
Okay, so how many of those songs are recorded?
Right now, I have maybe about a good 20 of them recorded right now and everything. I mean, of course, like I've sort of dropped it down, just due to the fact that that not everything is set yet. Like there's no actual set of of like album or whatever. Not
There's no
yet,
EP or full EP.
nothing right now. Like that's actually sort of what I want to do, starting this year and everything. Hopefully, because you know, I mean, like you're just sitting there. You know, they're like antiques, just collecting dust. You know, it's horrible, but that's how it is.
Do you record yourself or do you go to studio?
I record myself and everything. I have, of course, my laptop. I have like a 4 channel mixer. Um, it's pretty basic stuff. It's not like a whole like state of the art
Yeah.
studio and stuff. But yeah,
Cool. Yeah, no, it's cool because like you're saying that your songs are just like kind of like gathering dust, right? But
Yeah.
but then it's funny because like you'll hear like songs that are just come out of nowhere and they're real popular like on the radio and stuff. And sometimes the musicians or the bands will say, "Yeah, man, that song's like 5 years old." Or
yeah, yeah.
so you never know, man. Maybe you're sitting on
Hopefully, man.
on
Yeah,
a like a top 40 hit or something.
yeah, maybe.
What do you like? What do you normally write about? Or like,
Um,
what are the themes of your songs?
man, everything is game, pretty much. I remember when I first started playing though, it was actually after a horrible breakup. I got over that. Basically, like my actual music just sort of took me through all that. You know, they just sort of took me through all that pretty bad stuff in my life. And other than that, I mean, I talk about my family. I talk about my wife and stuff. You know about my travels to Colorado to go see her and stuff. It was a lot of stuff. And even now, I'm sort of starting to get into like a little bit of like political music. Like I'm trying not to do it, but I mean, it's hard to.
It's hard to avoid it, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as you like get older,
Yeah, exactly. Like
you
I
start
just
to
turned-
realize that these things do affect your
Yeah.
everyday life.
Yeah, definitely. Like I just turned 30, and so I'm seeing. I'm like, man, all these things that is going on over there. It's like having a huge effect with me right now. So, yeah, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I know what you mean, man. Like I remember, like I always say, growing up in the '80s, like one of my biggest fears was that the shit was gonna hit the fan with Russia, right? That was a real fear in us
Yeah,
back
the
then,
Cold
man.
War, yeah.
Like the Cold War and stuff. Like we always knew that any day now it could happen, and then things got really cool, quiet, peaceful, and we've had our little wars and shit, and then all of a sudden Russia's in our face again.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, man.
once again, it's a real fear.
Yeah, big fear. Big
And
fear.
and to me, I can handle it because I've been there before. But it really bothers me that my kids have to go through that. Like
Yeah,
now they have that same fear that I grew up with, and it really sucks, man.
really sucks. But then,
Okay, so as not to get political,
yeah.
let's let's take apart one of your songs. Like, what's one of your favorite songs that's original to you?
One of my favorite songs, and I literally know how to dissect it completely. One of the songs is called "Scream and Sing." That is actually a song that's set up in, and that's the thing as well. Like all my songs have no set verse, no set chorus. They all change, and everything. But the actual verse and chorus on these songs are like separated, by like a different time signature, different chord changes. But like the first three verses in the song are like about just I think the very first song is like about like time and then how it slips away and then like how you start to relive the fact that okay, you know what, time is gonna go and I'm gonna be gone after a while and everything. Second one is about oh my god, I forgot about all that stuff. But then you start to realize that as the second verses come in, like the actual first, second, and third verses match up with the other verses that are coming through, and it's just sort of somehow matches up.
Makes sense.
And I don't think a lot of people realize that when I'm singing it. I'm like, I don't think these people realize what I'm playing
Yeah.
at all and everything. So I mean, I sort of feel like I would have to have like a stage to like say, hey, you know what? When you listen to this song, sort of like listen to these verses and then check out what look on this part because it matches up.
Yeah, that's
perfectly.
actually kind of like a storyteller's kind of deal,
Sort
right?
of,
Where
yeah.
you kind of give people a little like synopsis of what the song is and maybe what to be on the lookout for.
Yeah, yeah, definitely and everything, and it's something that I told my wife about, and she was like, "Jesus, that's like freaking amazing!" Like, like she had no idea about it. Like if you hear the song, you have no idea. But then when you start looking at the lyrics, I'm like, man, this matches perfectly with what he was talking about.
That's cool,
And,
man. Damn,
it's
now I want to
super
hear
nice.
it.
Yeah.
Is that one of the songs you're gonna play?
Actually, yeah, it is gonna be.
Nice. Okay, so you guys be on the lookout for that. Okay. And so where can people hear? Oh, so people can't hear any of your recorded music here, right?
Oh yeah, they can.
Yeah,
I have a SoundCloud, SoundCloud.com / Stovall Rocks.
Stovall Rocks.
Yeah.
Cool. So SoundCloud, no Bandcamp or Spotify yet or anything.
No Bandcamp. I always feel like you have to have like an album for that, so I don't have one. So I just
Yeah.
SoundCloud.
So definitely head over to SoundCloud, man.
Alright.
Check out his stuff and be on the lookout for any recordings in the future. Hopefully soon.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I
Okay, so now it's time for the show off segment. Like I like I said from the beginning, Judy and I love shows. That's like our thing, man. It's crazy though, cause like we go through waves where we go to a whole shitload of them in one week. And, like sometimes we'll go to like three in one night. Like we show hop, and we love doing that, man, because we get to catch a bunch of our friends, you know. And then like sometimes we'll stay home and watch Netflix. We'll just binge
chill.
and kind of like re-energize our batteries. But like some months we'll have like 10 shows that we went to. Some we'll have like 15, and then some we have like 4. But regardless of the number of shows, I mean, we just that's like our thing, man. Okay, so on that note, other than Funkmeyer's where we saw you play, where else have you played?
God, jeez, I played at a bunch of places. I started playing live when I was 17. I played at like my very first show was at this place called the Hidden Hookah, and I played there with like a regular named Jamie Hernandez. She was also a part of a band called Memento Mori, and then sort of for some reason like she just wanted me to have her like open up for her all the time. It was pretty weird, and everything. So I played there a lot. The Hidden Hookah. I played at the pizza joint downtown on the east side, the Black Orchid Lounge, the Rock House. I even played a couple of festivals actually 2 festivals in Odessa, both called Cerebral Revolution, set up by Adriana Molinar and Fabian. What else? That's really about it. So
Did you ever
far.
play the Percolator?
Percolator, yeah, I did play that one time.
Yeah.
I think right before it shut down, yeah, yeah.
Renee. Oh, by the way, our good friend Renee Hernandez is in the audience today. So, Renee. Yeah, Renee. I think he was working there, right? You were working there before it shut down.
Really, that's cool.
He was making the waffles there, man, were so good. They were the best. And I'm pretty sure I mentioned it before, but that's where Judy and I met the first time at the
That's
Percolator.
awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, like six years ago.
Yeah.
Craziness, man. So, what are some of the venues that you like to play at? Whether it's in El Paso or away from here.
That I would like to play. As far as El Paso, I've always liked Lowbrow. Like it's just something about it. It just has like this aura where it's just like, man, like people have come through here and everything. And so probably Lowbrow. Out of El Paso, probably, and I've always wanted to play here since I was little. Austin City Limits. Always wanted to play there and everything. I think my first ever time I ever saw Austin City Limits was a replay of when I was like 8 years old, and I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan.
That's exactly what came to my mind when you said that.
I'm like where he pops a string and then he changes it out.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was
On the fly.
amazing. We're like,
I was just watching that video the other day. That's crazy
Yeah.
you mentioned
Oh,
that, man.
man.
That's cool. Cool. That's it.
That's really about it. Yeah.
Cool. What are what are some of the favorite artists that you've opened for or that you've played with, whether they're local or touring or?
As far as like touring musician, I recently opened up for Buck Meek, who was the guitarist for Big Thief.
Oh yeah.
And I had no idea how important that guy was. Like I got there, like, hey, what's up, I'm Stovall, and like whatever. And he's like, hey, it was Buck. You know, it seemed like a really cool guy, like whatever. And then I saw him on YouTube, like on NPR. And I'm like, this guy's a freaking big deal. Like, oh my god.
It was on that Tiny Desk.
Yeah, on the Tiny
Serious?
Desk tour, and then he was on like a. I mean, that guy is like, you know, like he records albums. You know,
Yeah,
the guy's
legit.
crazy and everything. That's
awesome, man.
And then I've opened up, of course, for Javier Martinez, amazing musician. I think that was actually my first ever show when I came back.
Javier Martinez.
Yeah, when I came back from Colorado, and everything, I think Antonio got me the show at the pizza joint.
Yeah. Tony
And-
Salazar.
Yeah, and I was nervous as hell, and then and then Javier went up, and I was like, that guy's freaking badass, better than me and everything. And then I went up, and it was pretty good, not too bad.
Tony.
Oh yeah, definitely. Love that guy.
Pizza.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude. You're mentioning all our homies, man. Like
Yeah,
Tony,
definitely,
Javier,
man.
Alan. They're all are like really good friends. Yeah, I've even had I've had the luxury of, I had the privilege of singing a song on stage with Javier at the pizza joint one time.
I saw that. Yeah.
You
it's
did?
Cool, yeah.
It's terrible, huh?
It was pretty good. Not too bad. It was good, man. Loved it.
Did I love it, man? When he asked me to go up there with him, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm gonna go up there with you, man. Those are the moments that you live for, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Get to go up there because like I feel his music, you know. I feel like the message he's trying to give out, and so when he invited me, I'm like, of course I'm gonna
It's
go up
deep,
there,
man.
man.
It's deep.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
So What are some of the promoters that you've gone to work with here?
Of course, Alan, Antonio Salazar, I work with him quite a bit. I think that's really about it.
What about
I'm
like
not too
before?
sure. Oh, yeah, actually, yeah, the first ever. Oh my God, I remember meeting this guy and everything. I went to the Hidden Hookah just to like smoke hookah, and everything, and then I forgot, man, I forgot his name was horrible, but he also worked with Atomic Pink a lot when they were around, and also Jamie Hernandez and Memento Mori, and like he booked me a lot, and that was like my first ever like gig that I ever had, and I think I only played like two songs, with horrible too. I think I popped a string and it was nuts. It was a crazy show, but yeah, it was pretty awesome.
It's crazy because Jamie's a good friend of ours too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
remember when she was in? Um, she used to play a lot of shows at Percolator, and I remember one time I saw her play like her solo act.
Yeah, I remember.
And she was also a Magnifique.
Yeah, there you go. That's the band too. I was mentioning that one too. Yeah.
The first time I ever saw her perform, it was solo, and it was always blown away by her. Man,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
so talented. And then it's good to see her like all the awesome things she's doing now, man. She's like
Yeah.
a rep.
Yeah, she's like
Factory
a
rep.
rep for like Mackie and Ampeg. I'm like, jeez, it's amazing.
Yep.
It's a
It's a
dream
kid
job
from El
right there.
Paso.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, what are some of the things that you see at shows that make you happy?
Things that made me happy at shows. Just the overall love for music here in El Paso. I think it's definitely changed and evolved from a time where it was, pretty negative at one point. It's just a lot of people would show up to shows and just book it into that. I'm not gonna lie, like I've been guilty of that as myself as well when I was a kid. But yeah, I mean, just the overall love for bands nowadays. You can see exactly like how serious people take it nowadays, and it's a big deal because I mean that's something that we haven't had here for a long time, since the early days. But it's a big deal, packing houses like on Wednesdays or Thursdays. It's pretty awesome. But yeah,
Yeah.
more like
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, it's good to see like the youth, kids
Yeah.
starting bands and like taking it seriously and showing up to shows and they're also like aware of the fact that they need to take care of their band's reputation and stuff. And some bunch of the young kids are like really professional about it. So that's always a good thing
Yeah.
to see, man.
yeah, definitely, and everything. And like I think about like the whole history of local music in El Paso. Like the local music in El Paso has always been, pretty awesome and everything. And then it would dip, and then it would come back and everything. But I never, actually leave a show unhappy and everything. Like it's always something good to look at. So
Heck yeah. Then like for us, it's always something to look forward to.
oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, so let's talk about your social media. You have Facebook.
Yeah, I got a Facebook, facebook.com/ I think it's just called Stovall, I think.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know
I
you
think
have
that's it.
you have your personal page, and then you do have the Stovall, which is your musicians page.
Yeah, musician page.
Cool.
Not much going on there, but yeah, hopefully pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Okay, so it says that your genre is like freak folk.
Yeah, that was built quite a while ago and everything. Yeah, because I tried to actually mix a lot of like electric music, a lot of different effects and the music that I make. Yeah, so it's
And then the last one there is progressive.
yeah,
So you play guitar, vocals, harmonica.
yeah, yeah. I play a little bit of harmonica. I'm pretty good at it, but a little bit. Yeah, not too bad.
Nice, cool. And what about any of the other social media platforms? You have Instagram or Twitter, any?
I'm also on Instagram. It's called Stovey Music @Stovey Music, and also on SoundCloud, soundcloud.com/StovallRocks.
Cool.
That's really about it. Yeah, just three main ones.
What's the most reliable one to use to like contact you for booking purposes?
Probably my Facebook or my Instagram because I get shows either or on each of them.
Cool.
I've got cool shows in them.
Nice. Okay, so one of the questions that I always like to ask, because you never know, there's a kid out there who might be watching or who might just be thinking about starting to learn how to play guitar or maybe get into music, and they just need that one little spark of interest to say, you know what, I'm gonna do it. So what advice would you give to a young musician?
Just sort of keep going, man. That's really about it. I remember my very first song was just two chords, and it was god awful and everything. And I remember, people telling me like, I don't think you should be playing music anymore. It ain't that great, but just keep at it. Sort of think about what you're trying to do and what you're trying to convey, and sort of not think about what's going on at that time and everything, and just write for the moment. That's about it. Just keep doing it.
Nice. What about any hidden secret talents or projects that you have that don't have anything to do with music?
Hidden
Because
projects.
we want to get to the core of Stovall. We want to get to know him,
Yeah,
the
hidden.
nuts and bolts, so to speak.
Yeah, definitely. Any kind of hidden projects? Not really. I mean, I used to be into a lot of into like a lot of like photography and stuff, like scrapbooking. I don't know, it's pretty weird, but I sort of did that every now and then. And then I sort of draw a little bit. I haven't drawn in like years, but every now and then I'll pick up like a piece of paper and stuff and just go away at it. That's really about it, man. I'm into the hobbies other than music. It's
Yeah, more like the creative
yeah,
stuff, right? That's cool,
yeah,
man.
definitely.
Pretty cool. And so, like, what are your thoughts on social media bullying and just bullying in general?
Well, I mean, definitely, I've definitely been a victim of bullying practically my whole life, even up till now. Um, but I think it's a lot more prevalent, in social media nowadays and everything. Luckily, I didn't have that platform to be attacked on and everything, but definitely social media bullying, whether it's in person or like online and everything, it's equally as bad. You just gotta keep just ignore everybody on there, man. That's really about it. But yeah, definitely not for that at all. That's pretty horrible.
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. Like, I don't think you could ever outgrow being a target of bullying.
Yeah,
It could happen to you at any age. And it's weird, like, because when I was a kid, honestly, when I was a kid, like, when I was in third grade, I was already like 5'8". Dude, I grew
yeah,
really young. And so, like, throughout my whole school years, high school and middle school, nobody ever messed with me because I was always like one of the tall kids. And I was never like I was never a bully, and I was never like aggressive, or I just did my thing. I hung out with my
yeah,
friends and we went to concerts and stuff because that's what I love doing. But I never really got picked on. And it's crazy. Like now as an adult, it seems
yeah,
like it happens. It's so easy now. Like for
yeah,
young
exactly.
kids to like fuck that old guy. It's so weird
Yeah,
to me, man.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, exactly,
I
man.
grew up in a different age when like for the most part we respected our elders. And it's like if they're older than you, they do deserve respect. And I understand that some older people can be douchebags too, and maybe
Yeah,
they don't deserve it. But for the most part, you respect them because
yeah,
that's the right thing to
exactly.
do. So I can understand what you mean by like even to this day, you can get bullied. Like anybody can get bullied.
Exactly, man. And then it's gone to the point to where even if you just have like a different way of thinking than somebody else, it gets to the point to where it's actually personal and actually attacking like what you believe in. It's like, gee, like it's pretty horrible
Yeah.
and everything. And yeah, man, yeah, it's pretty rough and everything. Like I remember being bullied back in high school and everything for being the kid that went to Lucky Devils and smoking cigarettes and stuff and like being short and everything, or like having like my scoliosis and stuff. It's pretty horrible and everything. But like after a while, like I just learned to just forget about it. And but yeah, man, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, it sucks, man. Like I don't know. I guess the good thing is that I don't get it.
Yeah,
Yeah, but it's funny because like I've said before, like somebody's bullying you, they're just looking for a reaction from you.
oh yeah,
And I kind of like think of it in my mind like it's like a fireworks show. Like they'll shoot off like a black cat, just to see if they get a reaction from you. And if you answer back to them or you acknowledge their bullshit, then they'll freaking light up a Roman candle.
oh yeah,
With more insults. Before you
definitely.
know it, it's like out of control, man. So I kind of struggle with it, but I'm kind of realizing that it's better just to like just blow it off.
Blow it off, exactly.
Don't add more fuel to the fire because don't if you're gonna add more fuel to the fire, don't be surprised when you have
Yeah,
out
a
of
huge
control
flame, man,
raging fire. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's a shitty reality, but I think it has a lot to do with the fact like how you handle it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's enough on bullying. Okay, so how about any shout outs that you'd like to give to anybody who's helped you or.
Definitely to my first ever bandmates, Jesse Garzo on drums. Even though he thought that he wasn't that great, he was always the guy to rely on whenever it came to drums. My brother Gilbert Vasquez, he actually was on bass for like the first 2 years of the band, and it was pretty good. And I taught him a lot of the stuff that he had to know. And then of course we actually had two bassists, Victoriano Sanchez and Joseph Flores, who was actually a part of Avondale for like 2 years.
Yeah, I remember Joseph.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was,
dude.
was really
Joseph is the
cool.
one that wrote all those awesome riffs,
Yeah,
man.
there you go, man. He was awesome at it. And
I actually got to see Avondale when he was still with him.
yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I saw him. I think at the Spot, and that was also a show that we played. Oh, I'm sorry.
I saw him
Should
at
mention that.
420 Fest like 5 years ago or 4 years ago. 4 years ago at 425th. It was at Oasis Lanes.
Wow, jeez.
Dude, I fucking love Avondale.
We're badass band.
The other day, we went to movies at Bassett, and we were walking in, and we saw Oscar like walking in front of us,
Really?
like with his wife and his baby. And dude, I'm a 50-year-old man, and I was fangirling. Okay, sorry, man. But I just love their music, man. It like speaks to my soul, man.
Yeah,
For
definitely,
some
man.
reason. Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
Oh, no,
there,
you're
but-
cool, man. Yeah. Well, of course, my wife and everything. She's the one to push me forward and everything. Matter of fact, like the only person to ever push me forward. Like if there's anyone that's like giving me any hell about my music and everything, or thinks that I'm terrible at it, which sometimes I am. I know that. You know, she's always the one willing to pick me up and like move me forward and stuff like that. My mom and dad, even though they haven't been sometimes a lot of there, but they were the ones that got me started and everything, and I know that they care a lot about what I do and take it seriously. So.
Heck yeah, man. And as always, I want to shout out Mama Judy.
Oh yeah, Mama Judy.
I, you know, I should just put like a pre-recorded slide right here because she deserves all the praise, man. She's awesome.
She does, man. You guys both are amazing people.
Thanks, man. And also, of course, our awesome sponsors at Alive Audio, Alex and Nicole Vargas. We love everything they do, and when they ask us to help them, we're there, man. Because those are good people, man. Good people in the music scene in El Paso, and they support so much that for us, when they ask for our help, we're there, man. So, yeah, cool. Support. Okay, so we've arrived at our favorite segment. It's the rapid fire. I'm gonna ask you 5 quick questions. I still don't know what I'm gonna ask. I have one question so far. Okay.
All right, cool.
You have a half a second to answer. Okay. Okay. So, what cartoon animal would you say is your spirit animal?
Spirit animal, a pig probably.
Pig?
Like Porky Pig.
Pig. Nice.
Yeah.
Heck yeah, man. You got Petunia.
Yeah, not bad.
Mine is Courage the Carly Dog.
Oh, nice.
I just like the. Shut up, stupid dog! You bother me. Okay, and what instrument would you like to learn how to play that you don't know how to play currently?
That would like to play saxophone.
Saxophone. Cool.
Yeah.
What was your favorite concert that you ever attended?
Favorite concert I ever attended was the Mars Volta actually back in '08.
Lucky.
Yeah, actually both the shows were amazing. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I got to see Sparta in like
nice.
2004.
Sweet. Oh yeah.
They
yeah.
actually played at Tricky Falls, but back then it was a Palace.
It was a Palace back then, yeah.
I saw them at the Palace.
Nice.
I didn't even know why I was there. I went because a friend invited me, and I was just sitting there. It was crazy, man. I was an older guy back then than I am now, because now I like to get into it. Okay, what's your favorite sport, like a sports team?
My favorite sports team, soccer is Liverpool. Football is 49ers. I'm sorry. I know, man. I'm bad.
Okay,
And then baseball is Red Sox. Oh, I know. That's even worse.
That's all right, man. It's good to have a parody and rivalries and
Yeah.
stuff. That's what makes sports interesting. Okay, okay, so if you could live anywhere but El Paso, where would you live?
Anywhere would probably be back in Colorado. I loved Colorado a lot, actually. I lived over there in Colorado for like about 10 months.
Which city?
And we actually lived in Pueblo, in an apartment that had no heat. It was horrible, and it was in the middle of winter too.
A lot of cuddling, huh?
Yeah, definitely, and everything. But I loved it over there. It was really nice. A lot of green, a lot of mountain stuff. So
That's cool, man.
I do like it a lot over there.
Yeah. Well, like I always say, the kids from the Lower Valley, we don't die, man. We multiply. And
Oh, yeah.
it was a pleasure having a fellow Lower Valley kid here
Oh
today.
yeah, little red kids never die.
Also a fellow Isleta Indian.
Oh yeah.
Another cool thing. Yeah, so you guys be on the lookout for Stovall, man. Be on the lookout for his upcoming shows, for his recordings that he promised he would do like right away, like soon.
Hopefully. Jeez.
Yeah, and support him, man. Go out to his shows and cheer him on, man. Thank you for joining us this week, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.